Drew here, Frisco Tennis Stringing. In this brief video, we're going to talk about some fun ways to hide lead. We're going to use 1/4 inch lead tape and 1/2 inch lead tape. If you're customizing or adding weight to a racket, the simplest way is usually to add lead tape. We are going to use real lead, so you can wash your hands afterwards, or if you want to wear gloves or latex gloves while using the lead, that's probably a smart idea too. But say you're customizing a racket or adding weight to a racket and you want to maybe hide the lead. Usually you can just put it on the inside part of the frame. It's not a big deal, but sometimes you want to hide it or make it a little bit more cosmetically pleasing. Like say you want to customize two rackets or match two rackets and one requires weight to be in a different place. It can look a little weird sometimes if for some people if the weight is in a different part of the racket. So let's just talk about some fun ways you can hide weight or make the racket look a little bit or that much better if you wanted to hide some tape on the racket. We're going to be using an unstrung racket today. All of these things we're going to talk about, you need the racket to be unstrung. The reason why a lot of people, including me, usually just put 1/4 inch tape on each side of the inner beam because the racket can be strung or unstrung. When you do that, it's out of the way. You're obviously not touching that part of the racket because you're holding the handle. But in this case, we need the racket to be unstrung. So first thing we can do is just, in this case, we're going to put some lead at 3 and 9. I'm just using 1 gram of weight today. You can add more. You can put two strips on top of each other to add a little bit more weight, or you can do a longer strip, however you want to do it. But today we're going to add some weight at 3 and 9. So first thing I'm going to do is just pop out these side grommets. So I have the side grommets popped out. None of these are tie-off grommets, so they're not flared. It would be tough to do this for a bumper guard or these top ones because a lot of grommets will be flared, or if it's been strung before, they'll flare. So you can't really do this technique with 10 and 12 unless you wanted to, if you had a new bumper guard and you could put it on after doing this, or you could use an awl and kind of wedge underneath there. But in this case, 3 and 9, or just till you get to the first flared grommet, this works best. These should go in smoothly because they're not tie-off grommets, so they should be able to pop right back in. But what I can do, and every racket's a little bit different, take the 1/4 inch tape and just put it along the strip, and then when you go to the other side, make sure you line it up accordingly. But in this case, the Pure Strike, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but it should line up on those ridges where we can hide that lead tape and put it press down with either a finger or a flat awl to make sure it stays within those grooves. So let's put this lead tape hidden right in between the racket groove. All right, so the Pure Strike's a little tricky, but the lead tape is smooth inside that groove, and you can just use an awl and just, or you can use a grommet grinder, just poke holes. And you usually want to measure a little bit more weight in case any of the weight falls out while you're puncturing those holes. But now you can just put the grommets back on. So as you can see, we added about 1 gram of lead tape and it's completely hidden on that groove. And every rack is going to be a little bit different, but usually the 1/4 inch tape will be hidden on the inside. So the grommets are sticking out and it's ready to be strung. And we added 1 gram of tape and it's invisible. Second place we could add or hide lead tape is the throat here. I usually, and I got this from Unstrung Customs. I love a lot of their content. I got it from him. I don't like adding lead to the throat unless necessary. To me, it makes always more sense to add lead to the hoop because that's actually what's going to be making contact with the ball, or the grip, the handle, because you can make it a little bit more maneuverable in the headlight by doing that. So sometimes this area, to me, is kind of a last resort to add weight, but in this case, say someone, and it does happen from time to time, wants to add some lead tape. What you do is just the same thing. You measure it out perfectly, and then you can actually hide some lead tape under here. See how it's measured out and punctured. So we do have lead tape hidden under here. So now we added about 1 gram of weight. As you can see, it's completely hidden. The grommets are sticking out, so it's ready to be strung. So another simple place we can add lead tape or add weight, and it won't show on the racket. And the final thing we can do to add lead tape to the racket, this is actually a personal favorite of mine because it's a good way to add lot of weight without using much length because we're using 1/2 inch tape. Usually 1/2 inch tape I just use for like under grips, or maybe under bumper guards, because it is too wide. If we wanted to add it to the side here, it's just too wide and it'll look bad too. It won't stay on that well. So what we can do, this is about 1 gram, and it's not even that long. So that is a good thing about 1/2 inch lead tape. You get more, quote unquote, bang for your buck for less length. Say we just popped out the grommets. Say we want to add it to, say, 3 and 9. Again, we'd have to do the corresponding side. You want to center it up as best you can. So we have a 1/2 inch lead tape added. You can use soft awl or back end pliers if you want to just make sure it's on there. Nothing sharp, obviously. You don't want to scratch the frame. And we can puncture holes. So we now have that gram and lead tape really lined up, and I think it looks pretty cool there. We should be able to just pop the grommets right back in. So the grommets are through and it can be restrung, and it looks pretty cool there. You have a 1/2 inch lead tape. In this case, you probably could just use your fingernail if you wanted to just pull that tape out even after it's strung. It'll be easier when it's unstrung to take the tape off, but here, since it's on the outside, you could take this tape off, and kind of a cool looking way to add some lead tape using the 1/2 inch. I hope you found this video useful. Just kind of fun ways you can customize your racket, add lead tape, add weight, make the racket your own. You can hide weight. That way the racket looks just like a standard stock racket, but it actually is maybe loaded up with lead tape, or looks kind of clean on the inside here. Each of these has to be done unstrung, but it's usually not a problem. So I hope you found this video useful, and I hope to talk soon.